Let's see if this even works. Please hold. Just trying to confirm with myself. Well, yeah. Are we? Yeah, it's working. Let's do an audio test. It seems like the audio might be slightly delayed. I might need to change that. Come on, you can do it. Definitely is slightly delayed. And what's our audio source? Are we using the Procaster? It's a work in progress. It's a work in progress, folks. Back to the switcher. Audio. Oh, here we go. Isn't this way to do it? Audio is delayed. Let's figure this out. So we're gonna Google it. I know I've read about this before, but I can't remember how to fix it. A10 Mini sync audio with video. What? Oh, because we're not routing. So I wonder if we need to change it and add the I don't know if we can change the add the ATEM as a audio source. Let's see. Go into Streamlabs. I wonder if this will change it. So now this is switching it from the microphone, the Procaster, to the microphone on top of the camera. Now let's see. Let's see if that syncs it up. Because now at least they're the same. I wonder if this will change it. So now this is switching it from the microphone, the Procaster, to the microphone on top of the camera. Now let's see. Let's see if that syncs it up. Because now at least they're the same. That syncs it up, but that sounds terrible. So now this is switching it from the microphone, the Procaster, to the microphone on top of the camera. Now let's see. Let's see if that syncs it up. Now at least they're the same. That syncs it up, but that sounds terrible. So now this is switching it from the microphone, the Procaster, to the microphone on top of the camera. Now let's see. Let's see if that syncs it up. Now at least they're the same. That syncs it up, but that sounds terrible. So now this is switching it from the microphone. This is so meta, watching your own stream while streaming. It's crazy. So meta, watching your own stream while streaming. It's crazy. Okay, let's see what that sounds like. Does that sound any better? A little bit of a delay. Does that sound any better? A little bit of a delay. That definitely sounds better. Okay. So what we're trying to do here is let me add my just gonna add a source, main desktop, and I want it to be Adobe Audition. Yeah, sure, whatever. You pull this forward. I'm sure. Oh, I think you just change. There we go. Move you over here so we know what you look like. Open this guy up. Awesome. Can you see the whole screen? Okay. So what I did in this podcast episode is I actually am recording it a little bit differently. I normally just kind of talk and, I'll have a point and I'll write some stuff down, but it's normally just like one long segment. So what I wanted to do in this one is I actually wanted to break it up and move it into sections. So I actually have a section 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I recorded little blocks, and then now I'm stitching together the blocks and trying to turn it into a cohesive podcast. Now, I've never done that format before, so just playing around with it to see how I like it. So let's see what this one.
Section 2, update on passive income.
Yeah, so what I have right there is just basically a little intro. So between each section I do a little intro of what the next section is, and I recorded all of it really in reverse. So I recorded all the individual sections, and then after I recorded the sections I went back and recorded the intro, the outro, and the individual segment introductions. So this one should end.
I know that's what it made me think. So check out David's book. It's great.
Talking about the Can't
Section
Hurt Me
2,
book by David
update
Goggins.
on passive income.
Okay, now we're talking about passive income. And I think this is what section 2 starts. Yep, right there. So now we're going to drag this guy back to this section. Open this up so I can see both of them. Drag it back.
Section 2, update on passive income. So I've been making...
Okay. So now this one should be section 3.
So let's talk about politics.
Let's talk about politics. Go find my...
Section 3, the Capitol Hill rioting and my thoughts on political polarization.
So we're going to zoom into this. We need to cut this down. So I'm just going to click on this and drag that in. I'll go and select this razor tool. Cut that. Now I have this section separate. This is going to be my fourth section. 4. So I'll do the same thing because I know I'm going to need to cut this down. I don't need all that dead space.
An update from my last episode on purging, organizing, and radical accountability.
Perfect. So now we need to drag this guy in front of our third section, which should be where that big black gap is up top. There might be a shortcut that's easier than this. I just don't know what it is. I'm relatively new to Audition, so I'm going to drag it back to the end of this clip.
That's cool. I wanted to share that with you guys. Section 3, the Capitol Hill rioting and my thoughts on political polarization.
Okay. And is this that section? This is the start of that section, I think. Whoop. Cut that a little bit too much. So if you press Alt, I have a PC. If you press Alt and then scroll your wheel on your mouse, it will. Whoa. No. Get out of that. It will zoom in on the timeline so you can cut smaller sections if you need to.
So let's talk about politics.
Let's talk about politics. Nobody wants to talk about politics, but stuff that's been happening is crazy.
So let's talk about politics.
So let's see what that transition sounds like.
The Capitol Hill rioting and my thoughts on political polarization. So let's talk about politics.
So it's a little bit of an unnatural transition, not enough break, like a pause, a natural pause between that thought and the next one, so I just extended it just a little bit. So that's the fourth one. What do we have here?
Not feeling too hot about it. That's for sure.
This is our fourth section. Drag this guy all the way back to the end of our third section. That should be around here. So it looks like I reduced the levels in this one. Did something. And that whole section looks much lower. Huh. Definitely did something here.
Section 3, the Capitol Hill rioting and my thoughts on political polarization. That's all I say.
Bring those levels down. I mean, this might have been because I already did some audio processing on the first track before I added these other ones, so we'll play around with that and see if that is indeed what we need to change.
That's for sure. Section number 4, an update from our last episode on purging, organizing, and radical accountability. Oh, I just wanted to check in based on our last. Gonna do for check.
Is there a gap here somewhere? Oh, small one. And this is, I believe this is our outro.
And that wraps up another episode of the Untucked podcast. If you like this episode, consider subscribing or sharing it with a friend, leaving a review. All those things help us find more people. And let me know what you think about the audio, testing on a new mic, and also the format. Did you like the breakdown into different sections? Interested to hear what you guys think. Until next time, see ya.
Boom. Pretty straightforward. Intros and outros are so difficult. You would think they would be easier, but they're not. Okay. So for the most part, that's our podcast. Let me save this. Yes, I want to save the changes. Still streaming, good. Still streaming, awesome. Alexa, turn the lamp on. A little dark in here. Turn that lamp on. How's that? It's a little bit better. It's awfully bright though. Bring it down a little bit. There we go. So now let's bring in. I already ran some effects on these, so I'm going to go ahead and delete all of them. Remove those effects. I don't know if I can remove the match loudness. I think what I probably need to do is bring all of these in, them all down here. I'm going to run match loudness on everything, and it should level all of the audio, bring it up to basically a standard for podcast. I've always read that around -16 or -18 LUFS is where you want to be. I don't actually know why, but that's what I read, and that's always worked for me, so that's what I do. One thing that I did want to look at is something that I don't really normally pay too much attention to is this waveform and this clipping. Like, I see that I have some peaks that exceed this -6.
Let's talk about.
And I think what I want to do is actually put a hard limiter in there, bring that down so that we cannot surpass -6. And what that should do is just chop off the top. We'll set that limit to -6.
Try a few new things. One, we got a new mic, so let me know what you think about the audio levels. And also, I broke this podcast down into sections. The first.
Okay, so we've got our hard limiter in there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come into this single band compressor. Let's look at
first section is a book review. That book is Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. That will proceed immediately after this intro. Then around the 9.5 minute mark, I'm actually going to be giving an update on some passive income that I actually was able to generate from one of my YouTube videos. Around the 13.5 minute mark, I'm going to be touching on the recent Capitol Hill rioting and just general polarization when it comes to politics. And the last topic we're going to be talking about right around the 21 minute mark is actually a follow-up to our last episode where we're talking about purging and organizing and radical accountability. So stick around, let me know what you think, and catch you guys on the other side. Section 1, my thoughts on the new... the recent Capitol Hill rioting, and just
jump over to the waveform. See, so we still do have some peaking. Let's actually go over to the waveform. Let's do it in here. Go back over here to multi-track. Let's remove those effects. Let's come back over here to waveform. Got the whole thing selected. I want to put a hard limiter in at -6.
One, we got a new mic, so let me know what you think about the audio levels. And also, I broke this podcast down into sections. The first section is a book review. That book is Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. That will proceed immediately after this intro. Then around the 9.5 minute mark,
So I actually think for that one we need to, let's hard limit a little bit further than that. Let's hard limit to -8. I don't think I need any input boost either. Let's try to apply that. See what that does.
I'm actually going to be giving an update on some passive income that I actually was able to generate from one of my...
That, I think, sounds pretty good. Now we're going to go to amplify. I'm going to amplify by 3.
My YouTube videos around the 13.5 minute mark. I'm going to be touching on the recent Capitol Hill rioting and just general polarization when it comes to politics and the...
So let's... So now what we're going to do is we're going to capture the noise print. Then we're going to Control A. And then we're going to come over here to Effects. What is it? Noise reduction. Noise reduction process. Hit Apply. Now let's listen.
And the last topic we're going to be talking about right around the 21-minute mark is actually a follow-up to our last episode where we're talking about purging and organizing. And
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I think that sounds pretty good. I don't actually know what the compressor bands are supposed to look, what the compressor bands are supposed to look like, what the waveform is supposed to look like, but it looks very compressed, if that is the right word. So I think that's good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our background music, which I always use the same one, and I bring that level way down. So we'll go over here to downloads. Which one is it? This lo-fi goodness. Bring him in. Yeah, because that actually, so this makes me feel a little bit better. I've never really quite understood how you're supposed to actually edit your podcast audio, but it's much fuller, if that makes any sense. So that looks a lot like the Audio Blocks song that I just brought in, which makes me feel like I'm doing something right. Because they're professionals, and that's how they did it. So that's how they did it, and that's how their waveforms looked, and mine are probably supposed to look the same. So I'm gonna do, I just want to control a, oh, okay. So I typically shift I shift my whole talking section down. I have the music start playing before I start playing, or before I start talking, so it sounds something like this.
in today's episode, we're going to try a few new things. One, we got a new mic.
So here's the music coming in. That's a little bit too long.
In today's episode,
bring this back. Oh, okay.
in today's episode, we're going to...
Obviously, this is not an exact science. It's more move things around until you like how it sounds.
In today's episode, we're going to try a few new things. One, we got a new mic, so let me know what you think about the audio levels. And also, I broke this podcast down into sections. The first section is a book review. That book is...
So now what we need to do, since I have this song playing underneath, and this song is not as long as, obviously, the podcast, is that we need to copy this and move it down so it's under the entire podcast. So one way to do that is you just hold down Alt and drag. I always do a little bit of an overlap. And then once I've got a couple in there, I'm going to go back, grab all 4 of these, and most of the time this works. So the little yellow bands that are overlapping right here, it just is showing that it's like cross-fading the 2 tracks into each other. Since they're the same song, I mean, some might say that you don't need to do that, but to me it just makes it for a cleaner transition. That way there's not a hard gap, right? I think that just seems to flow a little bit better, and plus that's how I've always done it, and I don't know any better. So maybe there's a better way to do it. Maybe I'll learn one day. But right now, that's all I got. So the same thing, I do the same thing. I think I can just chop this whole thing off right there. Yeah. So I do the same thing with the outro. I actually let the music play a little bit past me talking. So I'll fade out my talking.
Proceed immediately after this intro. Interested to hear what you guys think. Until next time,
see ya. To probably about right there. That's probably fine. Just a couple seconds. We'll fade that out.
So the format, did you like the breakdown into different sections? Interested to hear what you guys think. Until next time, see ya.
Whoa. Did I do... Let's go back to the waveform. What is this? What am I even looking at? Why does it look like this? Oh, duh. No, this is what I want. Nope. Nope. Dude, I have no clue what I'm looking at right now. Hold on, let's hold. There we go. So I'm pretty sure that I only applied that to one track and not the whole podcast, which is unfortunate. So let me see if I can do it this way. I wanted to only grab track 1. So if I do track effects, we'll do hard limiter. Okay, so I just merged everything into one. And now what I'm going to do, now I'm going to go over to that effect. Now I'm going to go over to my waveform. And now I'm going to apply. What a pain. So now I already have some effects applied to this section that are not applied to the rest of it. Well, that sucks. So let's just go back through. Yeah, because this is going to tear this up. So we need to
wanted to talk about organizing and radical accountability. So stick around, let me know what you think, and catch you guys on the other side.
So at a minimum, we need to apply the hard limiter at -6 because hard limiter -6. Boom. Now, the other thing that we can definitely do.
The book that I wanted to talk about was.
Did we do the amplify?
And radical accountability. So stick around, let me know what you think, and catch you guys on the other side. Section 1, my thoughts on the new book.
So we're not gonna do that one. I'm not gonna do amplify. Okay. So we're gonna remove that effect. But one that we can do is the noise processing. Right. And then we'll come into noise reduction process, apply. It'll do it to the whole thing. So it's a really good learning experience. I had like 10 separate tracks in the podcast, and I was only editing one under the waveform. I didn't realize that it wasn't editing the other one. So next time, once I have it all cut together, I'm going to merge it, and then I'll edit the merged file. Again, I don't know if that's the way the pros do it, but that seems to make good sense to me. Let's listen back to this.
The last topic we're going to be talking about, right around the 21-minute mark, is actually a follow-up to our last episode, where we're talking about purging and organizing and radical accountability. So stick around, let me know what you think, and catch you guys on the other side. Section 1, my thoughts on the new book, Can't Hurt Me, by David Goggins.
So one other thing that I've never really quite understood is the de-esser, but I don't know if it's under waveform. I don't know if you can get there under waveform. I think that might be, oh no, here we go, de-esser. Let's just try and see. Sure, I never heard of that.
The book that I wanted to talk about was actually an audiobook that I just finished listening to just this week. And that book is called Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. So I first heard about David Goggins about maybe 5 years ago. I actually was listening to short, he hired this Navy SEAL to come live with them, and the book kind of explains what that was like, what they did, how he trained Jesse on more than just fitness. It was almost like trying to
I think that sounds pretty
train
good.
someone to be ready for anything at any given time. Well, after I read that book, I Googled who's the SEAL in this book, and it was David Goggins. So that's how I first kind of recognized his name, and then really over the past 4 to 5 years, he's just become more and more popular as his message has gotten out. Deeper understanding for what he's saying. So one, I just really like that.
Okay, so we're applying. Boom, boom, boom. One thing that I did not realize the other day was in the metadata, actually fill this out under this ID3 tab. I didn't the other day, and when I was listening to my podcast, it showed like the file name, which is not cool. So I always try to add something in here. What's today's date? Come on, guys. 9th, 21. Let's go back to multi-track. Now let's listen back and hear what we got.
To take the pictures and list those things, it'll probably take me let's say 30 minutes, maybe an hour to package them all up and send them off. But $1,000 in money, $1,000 for equipment that I wasn't using anyways. Even if eBay takes whatever, their 10% fee, that's the
So now I think I might amplify up to a -3 cut.
Your 10% fee, that's still $900. I mean, this equipment's just sitting here, taking up space and, diminishing in value. The only thing that might possibly retain the value over time would be the lenses. But the cameras, the recorders, all that stuff, the longer you keep it and don't use it, the less it's going to be worth when you do end up selling it. So hopefully you have been able to take a look at what you have and get rid of some stuff, whether it's selling it or donating it or just throwing it away. If you have, high five. But yeah, just want to provide a little update there, just to keep with the whole
Purge, organize, and the radical accountability. 3 of our 5 things for 2021. Whoop. And that wraps up another episode of the Untucked podcast. If you like this episode, consider subscribing or sharing it with a friend, leaving a review. All those things help us find more people. And let me know what you think about the audio, testing out a new mic, and also did you like the breakdown into different sections? Interested to hear what you guys think. Until next time, see ya. yeah, just want to provide a little update there, just to keep with the whole purge, organize, and the radical accountability. 3 of our 5 things for 2021. Whoop. And that wraps up another. We'll apply that. Now let's go back to multi-track. Make sure we've got this. Whoops. Oops. Save as 4 selections. Podcast. Great name. Export multi-track mixdown. Boom, exported. So the next thing we'll do is I'll upload it to Anchor, create a new episode, and publish it. Now let's go grab the file. And let's see what it sounds like. We're into projects. Podcast, you guys can't see this scanning. Come on, Streamlabs. Let's edit this. Oh, because I've got it on window capture. Oh, that's fine. Where is this? In today's episode, we're going to try a few new things. One, we've got a new mic, so let me know what you think about the audio levels. And also, I broke this podcast down into sections. The first section is a book review. That book is Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. That will proceed immediately after this intro. Then around the 9.5-minute mark, I'm actually going to be giving an update on some passive income that I actually was able to generate from one of my YouTube videos. Around the 13.5-minute mark, I'm going to be touching on the recent Capitol Hill rioting and just general polarization when it comes to politics. And the last topic we're going to be talking about right around the 21-minute mark is actually a follow-up to our last episode where we're talking about purging, organizing, and radical accountabilities. All right, there you have it. Now I'm going to upload that to Anchor, release the podcast, and see what people think.